Help me get through my speech. You can stand here for support, but... Isn't that wrong? I'm going to talk about Brian, but before I get there, you know, Brian might have been the only white guy at hip hop night at Rosewood, but I was the only black person there. It was like Asian girl night. and way before the first kiss in the alley, Beth and I, we went to Suite 181 in Tenderloin, and we were out with her friends, and it's 2:30 in the morning, and Brian was out of town, and he was with Todd, I think they Jackson Hole or some Utah or whatever, and Beth, in this smiley face, turns to me and says, "Jackson, I miss Brian. Let's go." And right there, I knew she was whooped. Beth is beautiful and great, but I'm going to talk about Brian and what am I going to talk about? Oh, how
PG.
Of course it's PG. He's always scared because I'm not the most politically correct person. So you have to excuse me if I throw a bad word out there, but I won't. No, Brian, if you know Brian, he is always reintroducing himself to people. I don't know why. And I started to figure it out because with me and some other people, his first impressions are bad. You know? Yeah, he's got bad first impressions on people. For example, when he came into this world, I don't know if you guys know this, he was blue and fighting for his life. And that's not Brian, you know. He's not a person void of life. And when the first time I remember meeting him was at Dan's Christmas party, and he was standing in the corner. He did like have some nice clothes on, GQ. You wouldn't expect less from a child supermodel, Ralph. But he was in the corner at Dan's Christmas party, standing there, very unhappy, and he had one drink in his hand, and he just was unfriendly. You know, say hi, and just stood in the corner. And after that introduction, I guess you would have to reintroduce yourself to me. And after the introduction to the world, you would have to reintroduce yourself to the world. Because Brian is far from the person I first met. Far from unfriendly, and far from one drink at a party. Rich Welch was at this party, and he used to be the king of chug. Used to. You're getting old, Richard. Brian is the life of the party. No matter where you go, including his own bachelor party, he won't relax. And it's not like Danny. Danny will serve you drinks so he won't get drunk. Brian is right there with you, and he won't relax till you have 3 drinks in 2 hands. And he is always there for you. You know, he talks about the 7 P's, the prior, proper planning, prevents, you know, all that. You know, yeah. That's not him. You know, that's the same guy who, on a whim, went to Jim Ballard's bachelor party in Vegas. You know, like, It's 3 o'clock. He just went to Oakland, and I picked him up in the morning at 7 o'clock the next day. He'd been up all night and just had this grin on his face. And it was unplanned, and it's just Brian. He's always surprising. He's always surprising me. I don't think he surprises Beth. He puts a smile on her face all the time. And for most of us, and I know for me and Danny and John Murphy and Todd Denbo and Drew Denbo, Brian Prosis is the nicest guy we know. A prime example is Big Jim. He just, moved out here to, well, not here, where are we? He moved to San Francisco, what, 3 years ago? 4? And, didn't know anyone. And along comes Brian, and, doesn't know Big Jim from, the dirt on this bocce ball court, and just takes him in like a brother. And that's what BP does. He is just everyone's best friend, and it has been my pleasure to know Brian and his wonderful family, Patty Peasy, CWP, the man at the Olympic Club, goes from the elliptical to the treadmill. I say, oh, Brian's coming right now. So he turned around on the treadmill and almost fell off to say hi to Brian. But that is the type of respect Brian commands in a room. He's the best person I know, the nicest guy I know, the most genuine person I know. And I just want to raise a glass to Brian Prosis